Okay, so how in the world do you appear in 50 different places at the exact same time, and how do you use that to become the biggest streamer on the planet? Well, today we're doing a full exam review, a deep dive into the viral marketing masterclass behind MrBeast's absolutely insane streamer heist.
All right, here's the game plan. First, we'll tackle the impossible premise itself. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how they engineered the deception. After that, we'll watch the whole thing unravel, study the beautiful chaos that followed, break down the business side of it, and then finally, we'll give our final verdict. So let's start at the very beginning. The goal Mr. Beast set for himself sounds simple, right? But behind the curtain, it was a logistical nightmare just waiting to happen. This is the question. This is the whole magic trick. How do you possibly convince millions of people watching 50 different streams that you are somehow simultaneously in every single one of their favorite streamers' rooms? Just asking the question is enough to get people talking. And there you have it, straight from the man himself. He wasn't just pulling a prank. No, this was a calculated move, a direct shot at the top spot in the streaming world. The stakes were sky high from the second he hit record. Okay, now for the fun part, the how. How do you even start to build a lie on this kind of scale? Well, it all kicked off months before anyone knew a thing, with just an incredible amount of planning and construction. To make this work, the team literally built eight full-scale, meticulously detailed replicas of some of the most famous streamer rooms out there. And I don't mean they just decorated a corner. No, they were building these personal spaces from the ground up, all inside one giant studio. Just think about that for a second. But wait, 8 isn't 50. So to hit that magic number, they brought in technology. They used an additional 20 blue screen rooms to digitally drop streamers into backgrounds of their real houses. It was this hybrid physical and digital approach that let them scale the illusion, even though, as we're about to see, those digital backgrounds were one of the first clues that something was up. The attention to detail here was just absolutely absurd. I mean, they had teams scouring the globe for replica props to match these super rare figurines and personal items. They even recreated Speed's bed, get this, entirely out of toilet paper. It's that kind of obsessive, crazy detail that made the whole thing so convincing right out of the gate.
But here's the thing, right? No matter how perfect your plan is, it eventually has to survive contact with the internet. And on launch day, that's exactly when this grand, beautiful deception just started to fall apart. At first, it worked like a charm. It was flawless. The streamers themselves were just completely shocked. You had Pokimane and Lacey walking onto their sets, totally blown away, and their genuine reactions basically sold the whole illusion to their audiences.
Ludwig's reaction here, it's perfect. He completely nailed that uncanny valley feeling they created. It was so close to being real that the tiny little differences, like the spacing of objects, were actually more noticeable than if they'd made big mistakes. And that little bit of offness was the first thread that viewers started to pull. And man, this timeline just shows how fast the dominoes fell. In less than 45 minutes, the chat rooms were already buzzing, people were spotting weird things, then you get the first major leak from someone in a green screen room, and by noon, not even 2 hours in, the internet's hive mind had pieced it all together. The secret was out, game over, or so we thought. But this is where the real marketing genius kicks in. See, the failure of the original plan wasn't the end of the show. Nope, it was the beginning of something new, and honestly, something way, way better. And that quote from Mr. Beast says it all. He knew it. He saw that the reveal and all the chaos that came after was infinitely more entertaining than just trying to keep the lie going. The entire strategy pivoted right there, on the fly, from this coordinated deception to just pure, unscripted chaos. What happened next was just a complete content goldmine. The whole studio turned into this live-action crossover episode. You had streamers ditching their own sets and just invading each other's streams, creating these moments you could never script, like finding out a random soccer ball prop was actually a cake the whole time. You can just feel the energy shift in these quotes. They went from acting like they were all alone in their rooms to treating this entire massive building like one giant interactive playground. And the result was live. It was unpredictable, and it was something you just couldn't look away from. Now, obviously, a stunt of this magnitude doesn't just happen. It costs a ton of money. So let's talk about the engine that powered the whole thing. the incredibly smart way they integrated brand sponsorships.
Yeah, this wasn't about running some boring pre-roll ads. MrBeast used what's called integrated sponsorship. It's a strategy where the brands literally become a part of the story, not just an annoying interruption.
And you can see this two-pronged attack right here. On one hand, he was promoting his own brand, Feastables, just naturally within the stream. But what was really clever was how he used Shopify. They weren't just a sponsor, they were basically a co-star. He was demonstrating live on air how creators can use their platform. It was a commercial that actually felt useful. So, with everything laid out on the table, what's the final grade on this thing? Let's step back and really evaluate the heist against what it set out to do.
The report card is pretty clear, isn't it? While the actual deception part was, only a moderate success. It didn't even last 2 hours. The overall audience engagement was just completely off the charts. And because of that super smart brand integration, the impact for both Feastables and Shopify was a massive, massive win.
And really, if there's one major lesson to take away from this whole thing, it's this. MrBeast proved that in our modern attention economy, that raw, unpredictable, authentic chaos can be way more valuable and way more memorable than some perfect, sterile, flawlessly executed plan.
So it leaves us with one big question hanging in the air. By turning what was technically a failure into this huge content success story, has MrBeast set a brand new, maybe even unreachable benchmark for what viral marketing even means? And what in the world is it going to take for someone to top this?